Let me give you the biggest sign that you're emotionally damaged from your past relationship or relationships, the behavioral patterns you'll probably be exhibiting, and what to do about it so you don't wind up ruining the results you want with a potentially great relationship. The biggest sign is consistent mistrust and fear of vulnerability with your partner. If you're heavily guarded or have a huge concern about opening up to your partner or trusting them blindly when they've done nothing wrong to say that they're not trustworthy, this is a huge sign to you that you have emotional damage from those previous relationships, or maybe it was that one major relationship that really did it to you, but there's some things that needs to be tended to. Now, just because you've experienced some emotional damage does not mean you're damaged yourself. Any emotional damage can be repaired, but you have to be willing to acknowledge it and embrace it first to start that journey. Now, this manifests through a number of behaviors. And the first one is reluctance to open up. You avoid sharing personal thoughts, feelings, or experiences, even in a potentially safe new relationship. Second behavior, hypervigilance. So you're always on the lookout for signs of betrayal or rejection. Then you start misinterpreting neutral situations or even positive ones as negative. Third, you start acting very jealous and suspicious of your partner with no valid reason. You start to question all of their actions and intentions as if they're some sort of a suspect. Fourth, difficulty with intimacy, right? When it comes to connecting emotionally or even sometimes physically, you have a really hard time with that because doing so means you have to get close to somebody, and that's a scary idea for you. And the fifth behavior, self-sabotage. You start unconsciously pushing your partner away or creating conflict on your own because deep down you believe inevitably you're going to wind up being hurt no matter what. For example, if you have a history of being cheated on often, right? You may constantly question your partner's whereabouts, where they're at, what they're doing all the time. And you might become a little anxious and have some anxiety if they don't respond to messages fast enough. And you'll even avoid talking about your own feelings out of fear of being judged or being hurt. And then the biggest piece, you really struggle to trust your partner's expression of love. You have a hard time buying that they're really committed and they're truly here for you. And because in the back of your mind, you're thinking it's just a matter of time before this person screws me over or leaves me like all of them do. So the first thing we got to do to start healing that emotional damage is acknowledge that all those past experiences we had do not define and equate to our value at all. What happened to you in the past has nothing to do with your value. It has everything to do with the ignorance or the lack of information and knowledge that you had at the time. But now you're better aware. Second piece in this is taking time to reflect and acknowledging that the past experiences you had with the past people you had it with are not representation of all the people you're going to date or be in a relationship with in the future going forward. They only represent the people you are attracting based off of the old you before you became aware of what you know now, before you started valuing yourself a little bit more, right? They're representation of what you were attracted to before, but not what you're looking for any longer. The third piece in that is I want you to sit and take time and find the patterns in all those past relationships, or that maybe that major one that really, worked one over on you. Figure out what were the patterns and the signs of this individual doing the things that were hurtful to me. Break it down into pieces as to what you were missing back then that you now see. That's going to give you a template of what to be aware of moving forward so you can confidently trust the next person that's in front of you, because you're going to build new boundaries. I want you to set boundaries that honor and respect what you've learned from these past experiences. The things going to help you avoid re-experiencing the same stuff, because now we've learned, we're going to make adjustments to make sure we don't go back for the same thing over again. The next piece, you're going to start working on healing, right? Which is the emotional damage left behind. That energy still there. Sit with it and start to understand, what is it asking for from you? What's the message in there? What's it trying to tell you? If it's not trying to tell you something that's not positive, it's a lie. And figure out and sit down and write out all the reasons it's a lie, no matter how much your brain wants to tell you that, no, this thing is true, this stuff is true. And then what do you need to pour into your life to fill up that joy for yourself so you can start to feel excited about life again in relationships instead of pessimistic? Now, the second stage, if you have a partner that's in your life, right? Start taking small steps, baby steps of opening up and sharing your feelings. Practice being vulnerable with just small things first. Just open up and share your thoughts or your true transparent beliefs on some smaller levels so you can start to build the muscle of trusting your partner and relying on them comfortably. And what you want to aim most at building towards sharing is your fears and your inner insecurities, right? Little bit by bit, start opening up more with that. So you can see that your partner's not there to take advantage of you, but they're there to actually support you, right? Give them a chance to prove you wrong about not being able to trust somebody. And the last stage, you have to practice self-compassion on yourself, right? You don't know what you don't know. Stop beating yourself up so much about what you didn't know back whenever that person bamboozled you, or all those people got one over on you, right? Stop kicking yourself for it. You're learning your lesson. You're learning as you go, and you learned something, right? You took something from that. Give yourself credit for that. Give yourself grace and compassion to keep going through your learning journey, right? Breathe positive affirmations into yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Tell yourself the things you know about you. Yeah, you might have missed the mark on some of that stuff, but what is awesome about you? What do you know that you are confident in about yourself, right? And reaffirm that to yourself every day. Remind yourself of how valuable you are, because you are valuable if you didn't know already. And then as a last piece, you want to start to say, how am I going to honor this value? What am I going to do to nurture and breathe life into the value that I know I have? And by the way, if you don't feel confident in something, or don't feel you know what awesome qualities you have, ask yourself, what qualities do I want to have that I can start to build confidence around? And here's what I need to do to actually start to build it so I can be that, right? And over time, this will help you to build that self-esteem truly, and to minimize your fear of being vulnerable and opening up. You're not broken, you're healing. You're just in a space of learning and evolution and your own growth. If you need help going on this journey, so you don't keep carrying around baggage and emotional damage that you don't deserve to carry and hold on to, so that you don't self-sabotage a great relationship you might have found and want to build and flourish in, or that next person that comes along that you want to build with, reach out to me or DM me coaching, and we will get to work. Let's get it.